Once again, hello and welcome. Greetings and salutations to the Unash and Dukes podcast. Back with you to start a brand new week here. Boys State basketball week, Big Ten men's basketball week, Big 12 men's basketball week. We are 1 week away from Selection Sunday. We know of a handful of teams that will be there, including Ben Jacobson and the UNI Panthers. We'll get to that. We'll talk about the Big Ten. We'll talk about the Big 12. We'll wait until we reconnect with Mark Ironside to talk some wrestling midweek, and not much to talk about with the Big Ten Women's Basketball Championship game on Sunday. UCLA flexing their muscles in a big way. It is the Unash and Dukes podcast on YouTube. Go to Unash and Dukes podcast. Just type that in when you go to youtube.com, and we'll pop right up for you out there. We are presented by Emil's Hideaway at First Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids, right across from the Lindale Mall, next to the Home Depot. And they're open at 4 o'clock Monday through Saturday. They have your favorites: chicken pasta dishes, pizza, burgers, and fries. Classic American restaurant with a fully stocked bar. And they also do catering as well. So whatever you have, go to Emil's Hideaway. Mark, hope you had a good weekend. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good evening, whatever time you're listening. But man, it was jam packed. I had to write things down to keep track of when things were on and whatnot. But it was a fun, interesting weekend. Not great for some of your favorite teams. If you have a favorite golfer named Zach Johson, that was really good. But so much going on, and it's just going to be that much more this weekend and next.
And I didn't want to forget about Zach. We'll get to Zach and his weekend down in Florida in Boca Raton. He's the king of the world right now, as far as the Champions Tour is concerned. Well, let's start things off. Do you want to go the good, the middle, or the bad? And start with dealer's choice. We'll go with Iowa. We'll start off with get the bad out of the way. And it wasn't all that bad, to be honest with you. I tell you what, Thursday night and Sunday evening were, you get to the point where I'll put it in golf ease. You got that 25 footer to, win some money from your buddy or win a tournament or whatever. And the darn putt is right on line, right in the middle of the jar, gets to the lip and stops. And that was kind of Iowa men's basketball Thursday and Sunday. Played a really good game against the Michigan Wolverines. If they didn't have a 7-4 center, Iowa wins that basketball game. I really believe that. But Cam Manuel played his heart out and maybe played the best game he has in an Iowa uniform. But he's not 7-4. And when they needed it, Dusty May, to his credit, went to their big man on an alley-oop that I still have no idea how he caught and put in, but, credit to them. Mara's really good. So that was Thursday. Iowa just coming up short against Michigan, and then Iowa taking Nebraska to overtime on Sunday evening with a heck of a comeback. And Bennett Sturt's really not having a whole lot to do about it. It was Cooper Koch and Cale Combs leading the way. And, of course, Iowa's two was not better than Cale Jacobson. They walk on from Ashland, Nebraska. 12 three-pointers all year and just about had half of that in his one senior day game in Lincoln. Nebraska winning it in overtime behind Jake. And again, it wasn't Sanford in overtime. It was Jacobson and Sam Hoiberg that did all the damage in overtime for the Huskers. But it was a disappointing week, Mark, but I guess, yes, it was disappointing, but all is not lost, I think, for Iowa. Now the speculation will start for the next 3 days. And the next 72 hours is Iowa solidly in the NCAA men's basketball tournament.
Well, it was a really good couple games, I think, against Michigan and Nebraska. Re Really enjoyed the Michigan game, and the crowd was into it. I know you were there, and the game Sunday against Nebraska was just. I thought Iowa was beat when got down by 10 points, but give them credit, they came back, and just the little things add up sometimes. That when you get beat on a backdoor cut or you throw the ball away. You're right, Jacobson and Hoiberg. Hoiberg, you might not pick him for your YMCA team, but I mean, you got to give him credit. He had what, five or six steals, made some free throws, uh, big senior day. But the bottom line for Iowa is that the Hawkeyes have lost three in a row. And going into the Big Ten tournament, you talked about the NCAA tournament. I think Iowa's solidly in right now, but you lose another one and the margin of error goes down. I think Iowa's a tournament team, but these are the types of games. If you want to take that next step from ninth in the league to fourth or fifth, you got to win these type of games.
Iowa's first game will be Wednesday at 11. The Hawks are the number 9 seed, so they missed out on the double bye by going from 8 to 9. Ohio State won the 8th seed. I think that should be put out there. Buckeyes have been playing their best basketball all year right now, including maybe blowing Indiana out of the NCAA tournament on Saturday in Columbus. But um, boy, that game now is a little bit scary for a couple of reasons. Number one, you want to win it because that's Iowa. Do you agree Iowa wins? And there's not even a doubt on Wednesday that they're
I
in the
would agree.
tournament.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree.
Now, Oregon and Maryland, 16 and 17. Iowa gets one of those. Oregon's starting to play pretty decent basketball. They haven't had a lot of good teams that they have played in the last week and a half, but they look better. And Dana Altman's really good in March. Maryland gave Illinois everything they wanted and more on Sunday. That's that's a scary game, Mark. It is a scary game, and if Iowa drops that game and say somebody like a North Carolina State with Will Wade in the ACC suddenly catches fire like they did a couple years ago, you get about three or four bid stealers. Suddenly, you have kind of a little bit. You, you're on pins and needles for the next 3 or 4 days till Sunday.
Yeah, this week is going to be crazy. I know there were four bids up for grabs on Sunday. When you and I claimed one of those. Yeah, High Point. All right, High Point is in. My God. Anyway,
They
but
won 30 games.
this week is going to be crazy with upsets. Who would have thought Drake was going to be Belmont in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament? You're going to see that this week, and Iowa needs to take care of its own business, plain and simple.
If they let's just play devil's advocate. Iowa loses to Oregon or Maryland. Still in?
Well, it depends on what else happens. I mean, right now the net going into Sunday was still in the top 30. That's a solid number. And the loss against Nebraska didn't help. A win would have helped a great deal, but the loss I don't think helped or hurt the net a whole lot.
My thought is if Iowa loses Wednesday, I think they're in, but I think there may be a trip to Dayton in the first four, which they've done before and had success in Dayton. But I agree with you. I think the resume, Iowa's got 20 wins. Um, Granted, not a lot of big time wins in this league. Probably the biggest win Iowa has this year is Nebraska at home, and maybe taking Michigan and Nebraska right down to the wire in the last week before losing. But it's just take care of business on Wednesday, right? That's the bottom
Exactly.
line.
Exactly.
Iowa plays like this on Wednesday, they shouldn't have a problem.
I
Agreed?
would agree. Yeah, I would agree. It's not like I was playing bad basketball. Certain stretches are not that great. They're head scratchers from time to time, but it's not like they just take the last two games. Yeah, they're in the L column, but it's not like Iowa played poor basketball.
They didn't. Interesting today that Tavion Banks did not start. Not exactly sure what the background of that is. Isaiah Howard got the start in that game and played quite a few more minutes than Banks did, but um, no reason was given for it. I don't. It wasn't an injury situation, obviously. Maybe it was just Ben McCollum trying to shake things up a little bit. I don't know, but that's something I think to keep a little bit of an eye on anyway.
All you
As
have
we
to do is look at the game. Tavian Banks doesn't play very good defense. He got beat on backdoor cuts a couple times. He doesn't play great defense. He adds more offense than Isaiah Howard. Howard is a better defensive player, even though he got beat a couple times. So I'm not sure what was going on there. Uh, Listen, it doesn't matter who starts and who finishes anyway. So sometimes starting lineups are just a statement. Maybe making a statement to Tavian Banks. I don't know.
could be, could be. The first day on Tuesday, it'll be Oregon, Maryland, and then Northwestern and Penn State. Those are your Tuesday matchups. Wednesday, we mentioned at 11, Iowa will take on the winner of Maryland and Oregon. Washington and USC will play again for the third time. That will be at 2:30 on Thursday. Indiana gets either Northwestern or Penn State. Huge game. Hoosiers, I think, got to win two at least, maybe three,
Mm.
to get to the tournament. And then Minnesota will take on Rutgers, and that's before. If Iowa wins on Wednesday, it will be another game with the Ohio State Buckeyes, who they beat at home in Iowa City just a few weeks back. In the 8-9 game, while looming ahead is a possible rematch with the Michigan Wolverines. So, um, not daunting for Iowa to get a couple in Chicago after playing two games and Michigan not playing a game for a week. I'm not so sure that Iowa's going to have enough in the tank to give Michigan a run on Friday. But hey, that's what March is for, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is the type of Iowa team that could get beat by anybody on a neutral floor. It could beat a lot of teams. It could beat, um, it could win that first round game and definitely beat Ohio State, even though the Buckeyes, you know, beat Iowa by two games in the Big Ten Conference, despite losing the head-to-head matchup. But uh, it just it's going to come down to the little things, as I said, the execution and playing solid defense. The one thing in the postseason, you've heard it many times from many people, point guards make a difference, and Iowa has a good one.
Yeah, and you got to think he's going to go and do well. Senior year, sixth year, put your money on that guy.
Hmm.
The seeds, Michigan got the number one seed. Nebraska ended up number two. Might not be a great position for the Huskers because they're going to get possibly Purdue or Indiana in their first game. A Purdue team that's wounded a little bit. They started the season. Here's to Mark's point yet again. What was Purdue number two in the country to start the year, Mark?
Purdue was number one when Iowa State beat them in West Lafayette, right?
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
Yes, they were. And now Purdue is the number seven seed in the Big Ten tournament. Um, UCLA is number six. Mick Cronin has done a lot of complaining. They've done a lot of winning as of late in Westwood, though. Um, Wisconsin, look out for the Badgers. They're playing as well as anybody in the Big Ten right now. They are the number five seed. I still like Illinois. Michigan State is the 3, Nebraska the 2, and Michigan the 1. It'll be fun. It's gonna be a fun week in Chicago.
Yeah, I think so too. And regular season is done. I think you could say it wasn't a wildly successful season for Iowa, but it was a good one. And 10-10 in the league, and um, I'm not sure, you know, exceeded expectations by a whole lot. But I think that Michigan game, which you were at, and it was the crowd was there, and I think McCollum and the team, the program, have made strides in that regard. That's going to be important down the road, I think.
Well, Iowa finishes with in essence, the Drake Bulldogs, ninth upper division in the Big Ten from Ben McCollum, and I think that's a positive
Hmm.
this year. I'll ask you, okay, Mark, um, who's your coach of the year in the Big Ten?
Dusty May.
I think so. I don't think there's a doubt, is there?
No, no, Hoiberg's done a nice job to get him in a tie for second, but uh, I can't think of anybody else that,
Greg Gard. I
uh,
would say Greg Gard.
Greg Gard, they have some strange losses though too. They have some great wins, but you look down their schedule and got some head scratchers in there too. So I don't think Dusty May's the coach of the year.
Who's your player of the year?
Oh man,
Blackwell?
try to name a first team All Big Ten team, whether it's 6, 8, 10 players. You're going to get arguments all across the board. Look at the point guard position. Is Sturt's a slam dunk? I think probably he is. But there's so many good players in the league, and a lot of players that have great games against Iowa.
A lot of them. I Boy, Wagler. He was kind of maybe 3 weeks ago,
Yeah, early in the season, especially in middle of the season for Illinois. Yeah. Uh,
and I'm not sure who is right now. I'm not sure who is at
I don't
this
think
point.
Michigan has a standout. It's a nice balanced team. Um, if it's a boxing contest, maybe Jeremy Fears.
I
Um,
thought about that, but I don't think he gets it because of that.
no,
I don't think he gets it.
that's going to be an interesting selection.
Michigan, I tell you what, they are as good of an executing basketball team as I have seen in a long, long time. They set solid screens that open up just sides of the court, and they're long. And we got a 7'4" guy in the middle who's pretty athletic and can shoot and can do a lot of things.
When you have a
That
7'4" guy who can make a 3-pointer and
yes,
and call bank.
that hey, that turnaround 12-footer at the shot clock buzzer was the biggest basket of that game Thursday night.
Plus
And
the 3-pointer.
yeah, and he
Yeah.
made it. He made it. And so credit to him. It is the Unash and Dukes podcast presented by Emil's Hideaway, First Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids. Also, thanks to Kurt Gustafson Agency of American Family Insurance on Johnson Avenue Northwest in Cedar Rapids. Bim Ritter Sportswear downtown Cedar Rapids. Gary and everybody over there online at bimritter.com. What if you need screen printing or embroidery for your company or special event? See them. Hunt Graphic Innovations and Todd Hunt. Thank you. If you have a website you need help with, go ahead and contact Hunt Graphic Innovations and also Dr. John Woolner at Epiphany Dermatology on Council Street Northeast in Cedar Rapids. And set up your appointment with Doc. He's got more than 30 years of experience. Iowa State. It wasn't a pretty first half. But
No.
boy, did they step on the pedal in the second half and probably escorted Danny Hurley or Bobby Hurley to the unemployment line a little bit sooner, as it looks like he's out of a job in Tempe at the end of the year for Arizona State. But whatever TJ Otzelberger said at intermission worked, because Iowa State scored and they played defense like they did earlier in the year. And So the Cyclones, in essence, tied for third, but lost out on all the tiebreakers. So they are the number 5 seed in the Big 12 tournament. I, it's going to be a game possibly against Arizona again, come looming. Um, I look at Iowa State. I don't think Iowa State can hurt themselves in this thing. I think they can only help themselves in the Big 12 tournament. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Iowa State's probably a 3 seed nationally right now. Um, I don't know if it can move up to 2. Kind of depends on what the other twos do, but a 3 seed isn't bad. But this Big 12 tournament, the top 5 or 6 teams, I mean, I think Iowa State is on Texas Tech and Arizona's side. Texas Tech, of course, beat Iowa State in Ames. We know about Arizona, but then you've got uh, plenty of other teams that are very capable. So I think Iowa State gets to the semifinals at the worst. It'll be a 3 seed. Gets to the championship game, maybe wins it, maybe could enhance its seed. Again, it depends on what other teams do as well. So but it's going to be a fun tournament, I think, especially uh, semifinals and final.
Yeah, because it's a real top heavy league.
Yeah.
Um, the top five are as good as, and maybe better than anybody else's top five. Big Ten, SEC, and Big 12 are right there. You can kind of compare notes, if you will, in all three of those leagues. But the one thing about the Big 12 tournament is that there are a bunch of 500 teams that really need to do well.
Hmm.
West Virginia, UCF, also in there, Cincinnati and BYU. BYU's a 10 seed in the Big 12 tournament. When they lost Saunders, that was huge for the year. That kind of put them into a tailspin. They're in the tournament. I think they are solidly in by what they did in the non-conference when Saunders was there. But that's not the case for UCF, for West Virginia. TCU, I think, is okay right now at number 6, but they probably could use a win just to solidify things. But when you get to the 7, 8, 9s, when they start going at it on Wednesday in the Big 12 tournament, um, that's going to be fun. And it's not just going to be fun because of the glass court.
I watched some of the women's tournament. I didn't see it as any different than a screwy court at Oregon. If you wouldn't have told me it was glass, I wouldn't have known. But you've got the Arizona and Iowa State and Kansas and Houston. Houston's going to be right there with its experience. Picking a winner there, I don't know. Kansas could get hot. Iowa State could get hot, but I really like Arizona a great deal, not only in this tournament, but going forward in the NCAA tournament.
I would agree. And yeah, Iowa State is going to have to play one day sooner than the top four. Um, and more than likely, I am taking a look at it here. It's going to be, I mean, it could be a turnaround with Arizona State, although I think Baylor will get them. And Baylor's got talent, and they got Coach Drew, who's pretty good in March. And there's only one way for Baylor to get in, and that's to advance a long way or win the Big 12 tournament. So I'm Iowa State. I want Arizona State again. Um, Make sure that you send Bobby Hurley out, not being without a sniff of getting a little bit longer as far as the Big 12 tournament is concerned. But that ends on Saturday night. The Big 10 tournament, as usual, always ends on Sunday. Um, Going to be interesting to see if that continues to take place, especially if we get that E word coming up in the next few years with the NCAA basketball tournament. If it expands, you're going to see these conference tournaments end on Friday and Saturday. So
Yeah, because you almost go right from the conclusion of the Big Ten tournament right into the selection show. So they've dealt with it for quite a while. It's not a huge deal because they've got contingency plans across the board. But can't wait till next Monday, and we'll see where everybody lands and what we think about the draws. And but a whole lot needs to happen before then.
Speaking of that, we know one team that's going to be in, and that's Ben Jacobson and the UNI Panthers. Yeah, Drake probably squashed Belmont's hopes. I think Belmont might have been a consideration if they'd gotten to the at least the semis and the finals. That would have been 28, 29, 30 wins for Belmont. I feel bad for them. I feel, you love March because of this scenario. And being in Des Moines last week and talking with the sports people over there, and there are a lot of people that are all over Eric Henderson, the first year coach, the former South Dakota State coach. And they're asking why. I mean, this guy had to late in the going, he had to put together an entire roster. And no, they didn't have a great year in the Mo Valley. I think Des Moines' team has made Des Moines, a little bit, disheveled as far as what to expect from their hometown basketball team. And then they went and beat Belmont and blew their hopes out of the water. So Belmont may go to the NIT. Who knows? At 29-5 or whatever it is, they can join Navy, who lost. Did you see how Navy lost? By the way,
They did.
30-2, and they lose on a half court shot. And
That's we see it every year. It's not a big surprise to me. It's fun to watch. Listen, I have no idea how Drake beat Belmont, let alone by 19. I mean, come on. And that Belmont is a NCAA worthy team? No, that doesn't happen. But I hope Henderson gets some slack because yeah, they were decimated after last year, and the expectations were raised greatly by what Ben McCollum and Bennett Sturts and all those guys did. But hats off to Northern Iowa, man. Winning 4 games in 4 days, the first team ever to do that. And I don't want to hear anybody say Ben Jacobson is underrated because he's not. If you know basketball, you rate him very highly in terms of what his career has done. You might say underappreciated. I think underappreciated is a good word, but in my mind, he's not underrated. A 6 seed, winning in that tournament, 4 games in 4 days, pure Ben Jacobson stuff. And if somebody on that team does a Paul Jesperson in the first round or second round, whatever it was, all the better.
or Ali Farouk Manesh.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter. We'll take either one. It's not like UNI is a piece of stale bread. They won 23 games. They beat some good teams this year. Just had they had a little period in the Mo Valley where they had some injuries, and everybody goes through that. Ended up 23-12. Probably going to be a 12, is what I hear from a lot of people. Well, I don't hear from the bracketologists, but I read the bracketologists that UNI is probably going to be about a 12. And that's probably about right. So they're going to get a 5 in the first round, a 4 or a 5 seed, and they're going to make their lives miserable because Ben Jacobson is coaching the UNI Panthers, as you mentioned.
a couple months ago, I wondered why we were even talking about UNI because the Panthers had lost 5 straight games at one point, I think, and actually went into the tournament losing 2 out of its last 3 in the regular season. So, was that a team? But you're right, 23 wins is nothing to sneeze at. Quietly, 23 wins and a conference tournament championship. Pure Ben Jacobson stuff. It really is.
And a hats off to Trey Campbell, the senior out of Cedar Falls, who led the way today. And then also for the Panthers, Ben Schweiger coming off the bench. and putting up nearly 20. And they were never headed in that game. And I was a little bit worried about UNI with their would they be leg weary today?
Yeah,
Not that UIC, wouldn't be either. And that was also a very, very good story. Illinois Chicago has struggled since joining this league, and t- good to see them start to pick it up. This is what the Mo Valley wanted when Loyola left: is to get a team in Chicago, keep them there, and have them noteworthy. And I think UIC is starting to be noteworthy a little bit. If you do not know, that's the University of Illinois Chicago. Not any longer called the University of Illinois Chicago Circle. That goes back to early 40, 50 years ago, Mark, when it was Chicago Circle. But
yeah,
they're uh, they're starting to play better in the Mo Valley, and that is really good to see. So Panthers are in, and good for them. They'll be a tough out. They'll make some coach very, very nervous in the
sure they
top
will.
20.
Yeah,
Not sure who it's going to be. This the most fun week, next 2 weeks? I mean, March is great to begin with. I mean, we had girls state last week, boys state this week, along with the big conference tournaments. You go right into March Madness with the first four on Tuesday. I mean, this and baseball's around the corner. If you want to watch the World Baseball, that's fine. Um, am I getting into it in a big way? No, but maybe if the United States gets to down the road a little bit, I might get into it. This is my favorite time of the year, Mark.
yeah, no question. It's that way every year. I mean, you talk about all the tournaments, the NCAA men's and women's tournaments, and NCAA wrestling in a couple weeks, and baseball and whatnot coming up. So, um, but it doesn't beat Masters Week. I'm sorry.
That's true, which is around the corner.
Yeah, it is.
Well, the fifth major is this week. I say that tongue in cheek because I don't think it's the fifth major, but whatever.
You're
They'll
talking
have a
about the
lot.
Players Championship.
The Players Championship
Okay.
is this week. So, a couple things before we get to Zach here and golf. Congratulations to the Iowa women's wrestling team. No, they didn't win the national championship in the inaugural year of NCAA women's wrestling, but second ain't bad, as they say. And McHenry just edged out Iowa for the championship. Iowa did have three individual champions, so that's a good feather in their cap. And from all indications, Coralville was a great host for the first one.
Yeah, it's wonderful for the sport that it's finally gets a championship, and it's great for Iowa that it was held in Coralville. I think Iowa women were probably a little disappointed, but McKendree and North Central, those are two schools that have wonderful women's programs. So, no, number two is nothing to sneeze at, but if you're a wrestling fan in Iowa, you always want to be number one. Um, and neither men's or women's team is right now. We'll get to that with Mark Ironside on Wednesday.
Yes, we will. We'll get more in depth on that. Oklahoma State winning the Big 12 without, which is not much of a surprise.
Shocking.
Penn State winning, shocking, in their backyard at the Bryce Jordan Center. So, like I said, we don't have to say a whole lot about the Iowa women. They did look like weary today, and UCLA did a whole lot to make them look leg weary today. That was not pretty from the start. Not going to hurt Iowa, really. I don't think, Mark, in any way. Depending on how things go, I mean, they're either going to be a two or a three. They're going to play their first two games in Iowa City.
Well, when you have more turnovers than baskets, that's usually not a good sign. And that was the case. UCLA is immensely talented and it played extremely well on Sunday against the Iowa women, who I think exceeded expectations in finishing second in the league, second in the conference tournament. Uh, but it just shows how big the gap is between UConn and UCLA and everyone else. You know, I don't even think Texas and South Carolina, the number 3 and 4 team in the country. I know Texas beat UCLA. Let's just say the four number one seeds, and the rest of the country. You saw it today, I think. And Iowa played UConn and got blown out of the gym in stores. Not that mean it doesn't mean Iowa's a bad team. Those teams are just so much better, I think.
During the Caitlin Clark era, it was pretty level
Yeah,
at the top. And I think Caitlin, and there were great players. I mean, Kim Mulkey had great players out of LSU. UConn was still good. South Carolina was doing their thing. Iowa was doing their thing. That was probably the most balanced that women's college basketball had ever been. But we've kind of gone the other way now. And
yeah.
it's back to, I mean, UCLA versus UConn, if it's not that in the final, I'm not even going to be surprised. I'm going to be shocked.
I'll be tuned in.
Oh, yeah. The UCLA girls can dance too. You see them dancing with the UCLA dance team the other day?
I missed it. Was that Iowa's worst loss in program history? I need
I
to look it
don't know.
up.
That's a
They
great,
lost by 50 some.
it's a
I'm
great
when
question.
was the last time an Iowa women's team lost by 50?
Probably very early in the going.
Wow. I
Or
didn't look at the archives today, but put that game aside. It was a great season for the Iowa women, and I think won a couple games in the tournament.
Iowa State women should be in. They were one and done at Kansas City in the Big 12. You don't think so?
I,
No?
I'm just shaking my head at, I know Brown was out for quite a while. They had their injuries. They got exposed against Arizona State because all Arizona State did was double and triple Audie Crooks. And we've seen that before in other games. Unless others can step up, Iowa State's very vulnerable.
I think they're in though.
Probably.
I think might be first four again. And they've been in the first four. So we'll see how that plays out. Before we go, hats off. Salute. Cedar Rapids native Zach Johson. He's 1 for 1, Mark, as he wins on the Champions Tour in Boca Raton, Florida on his debut. Not the first one to do that. There's been a long line of golfers that have made the jump from the regular tour to the Champions Tour, won their first couple. And that includes Tommy Gainey, Tommy Two Gloves Gainey in there. Phil Mickelson, the list goes on and on. But second and third rounds for Zach were terrific. And what a I mean, hats off to him. Great job and congratulations.
It's a good thing Patrick Harrington shot 79 in the first round, or he blistered the course the last 2 days. But hats off to Zach. I don't think either one of us are surprised. It was not a shocker by any means. He's a young buck out there, uh, rookie, wins by 4, and you know probably will be the first of many. Uh, he's not going to play much on the PGA Tour, but when he does, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays well. But it's a great story. First win since the British Open that he's had. Uh, $330,000 in his pocket. Pretty good weekend.
Not bad. We could all use the 330,000.
I'll give you my address.
And congratulations to Zach and Kim and everybody as
Yeah,
he's back in the winner's circle. And like you said, I think he's going to be in that winner's circle many times
yeah.
this year. Probably see if he can get a couple of majors too. U.S. Senior Open. That's down the line a little bit, but we'll see if I got a feeling he's going to have to outduel somebody for that one if he's back.
No, off to a great start though.
Good job, Isaac. All right, Boys State this week, Big 10, Big 12 tournament. Going to be a lot of fun. Missouri Valley women's tournament down at Coralville this week. If you want to see good women's basketball, go down there and cheer on UNI and Drake as they try to get into the NCAA tournament. That'd be a great final in Coralville, Iowa, to have UNI and Drake women meet up for the right to go to the NCAA tournament. So, Selection Sunday coming up a week from now. So, looking forward to that. Thanks to Evil's Hideaway, our presenting sponsor, Kurt Gustafson Agency of American Family Insurance, Bim Ritter Sportswear, downtown Cedar Rapids, as well as Hunt Graphic Innovations and Dr. John Woolner at Epiphany Dermatology. And, we'll talk with Mark midweek and find out all the fun stuff that he went through in State College, Pennsylvania.
In between now and then, tune in to CRM Live Sports for Scott's calls on the Boys State Tournament, Monday and
Yep.
Tuesday.
We'll have Xavier Monday, Prairie on Tuesday,
Yep.
and hopefully later in the week they can pull off a couple upsets. All right. We'll talk to you later on, Mark.
You got it.
All right. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. And this has been the Unash and Dukes podcast. Talk to you later on.